The New Orleans Saints went into this game against the Indianapolis Colts knowing they had to win it. Derek Carr and the wide receivers in Olave had a heart-to-heart on FaceTime the week prior. And even though it was not perfect today, the Saints had their season high of points. And whatever you want to say, at the end of the day, it freaking worked, and you have to start thinking now, will the New Orleans Saints seriously win the NFC South? And by the way, Derek Carr haters, I cannot see you right now. I cannot see where you are at. I cannot hear you. Where are you at? We're going to break this entire game down in the Saints season. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content. Going into this game, everybody was worried about the struggling offense. Carr was yelling at his receivers. Things seemed heated. People were emotional. People were passionate. And then you had NOLA.com talking about Derek Carr yelling at Chris Olave last week. New video reveals what Carr said to Olave during the loss to the Jags. The Saints felt like the yelling during the game was overblown. The media was blowing it out of proportion. He even had Drew Brees chime in here and say, quit turning that into something that it's not. It got to the point last week where the reporters were talking about YouTube videos. This guy, JT Sullivan, who we mentioned, failed quarterback, journeyman, backup, former 6th-round pick for the Saints in 2002. And you may not know who this guy is because he really did nothing in the NFL. So what he does now is he talks crap on people like Carr on YouTube. The guy went from professional quarterback to YouTube. He is sunk to my level. JT O'Sullivan was ripping into Carr in his breakdown. He even had Saints reporters mention this to Carr.
When your quarterback do a 43-minute video and says some very unkind things about you, is that kind of, you take that personally when another quarterback does that?
I don't know who it was. I didn't see a video.
Yeah, Carr's a little busy. He doesn't have time to watch freaking YouTube videos of losers criticizing him. And why is the Saints reporter acting like this guy freaking matters? Oh, he said some awful things about you. Imagine if every person was asked about somebody on YouTube who criticized him. I'm sorry, man. This JT O'Sullivan getting 66,000 views. Look, WiFiWillie's got over 66,000 on some Derek Carr videos. Why don't the reporters bring up some points in the WiFiWillie videos? I'm stacking more views than JT a lot of the time. And I'm sorry, JT Sullivan, it did not work out in the NFL for you. The guy only has 1,866 career passing yards in his long ass career. Taysom Hill already has more passing yards in his career than JT Sullivan. Taysom Hill has 2,290 yards, even though the guy has to play wide receiver and freaking running back too sometimes. So JT O'Sullivan, before you make your next film breakdown for this game where Carr balled out, why don't you just shut up and move on to some other game this next time? The Saints offense was freaking off the chain, and actually they've been doing well low-key these past few weeks. They just don't close it out on third down and in the red zone. You got Jeff Nowak, WWL here, saying that the Saints offense had 400 plus yards in 3 consecutive games, and it's the first time they've done that since 2018, four freaking seasons ago. And it was because when you got guys like Taysom Hill, Sam Monson saying that Taysom Hill is just a really good running back. The dude was balling out, making plays. He's more than a running back, man, but he needs some help from people like Colin Saunders here, lead blocking the freaking defensive tackle as your lead blocker. Absolutely hilarious seeing 99 lead the way for the touchdown for Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill led the team with 63 yards and also had 2 rushing touchdowns. And we're not even bringing up the 44 yards and passing yards that Taysom Hill had. Taysom Hill and Rashid Shaheed caught the world slipping, man. Everybody thought Taysom Hill was going to run it. He did a deep, long bomber to Rashid Shaheed for 70 yards. Rashid Shaheed reeled it in for the completion. They almost called this an interception because the Colts defender wrestled it away at the end, but then the refs made the right call. Noticed that Shaheed's knee was down with possession. Saints had a huge completion from Taysom Hill, and it was great to see the camaraderie from all these guys. Derek Carr came off the sideline to celebrate with Taysom Hill when he made some big plays, and it just seems like, man, this team is a tough unit, and this lady is a tough ass fan. I'm sure these Colts fans did not want to mess with her. I bet you she just kept getting louder and louder throughout the game. If you've watched this channel before, you know I'm biased and I'm from Fresno. I'll admit it. And I'm just like this fan right here before the game. Only here for Carr. This fan having this sign up here as Derek Carr signed autographs before the game. Saints have some great talent, but I am here for DC. Rashid Shaheed was connecting with everybody. Taysom Hill and Derek Carr had 3 receptions for over 150 yards, and this touchdown here from Carr to Shaheed was such a beauty, a banger 50-yarder touchdown to give the Saints the lead early in the game against the Indianapolis Colts, and they even connected again later to seal the game. Derek Carr celebrating with his teammates on the sideline, could not help but be passionate, and they did the sleeping move, the Saints put a lot of Colts fans to sleep early, but it did not come with some setbacks. Carr to Olave, that connection has been iffy at times, and you saw it here where Olave ran a great route and was wide open. The ball came to him and hit him in the head, right in the head, and he could have grilled in the reception, just didn't execute, just messed up a little bit. The play after too, Carr threw the ball a little too high to Chris Olave on an in route, but ultimately Olave and Carr started clicking more. Olave ended the day with 46 yards, 5 receptions, had a couple key critical first downs too. So even though I want to criticize the guy on the drop and I want to say all these things, man, this team is still gelling together. QB getting some reps in with a new wide receiver, a young guy. I think the Saints proved today that some things are going to take time, but it's all there right in front of them to be a dynamic offense in the NFL. You had Alvin Kamara make some amazing plays today too in space, got himself a touchdown, but had less rushing yards than Taysom Hill, and even he just had to give Taysom Hill his praise.
Man, you know, Taysom, that's like, Taysom is like the equivalent to the tush push. He kind of, he like, it's, what's coming, and it's like, you can't stop it. So
Taysom Hill was straight up a cheat code today. Things were tough after last week's loss against the Jags. It was to the point where Carr had to have a heart-to-heart with some of his teammates and have some video chats, and it seems like the heart-to-heart, the bro-down, the bonding, the video chats worked out, and this is what happened last week. Carr talked about initiating it.
Did you initiate that? Was that something you felt?
Yeah, I felt like the Lord was putting it on my heart, if I'm just being honest with you, like I just felt like I needed to call some people, communicate, grow that relationship in certain areas, get an understanding also of certain things. And I just felt there was a lot of that, and it just felt super positive. I was I'm not gonna lie, I was really upset, man. I was really angry after that game because we let another one get away, and I let it stew for about 15, 18 hours, and I went right to my phone, started just like, all right, look, I can sit here and feel sad and feel sorry for myself all I want for the next 3 days, or we can do something about it. And so a lot of guys on the phone, texting, like I said, FaceTiming, and I thought it was super positive.
It seemed like it was a huge deal. It seems like things were dramatic. It seems like they did not know if they were all on the same page, and Carr had to sort of break the ice and reach out to people, and people had to be blunt about what they needed to get fixed. And when it comes to the yelling, Carr also explained how he had a lot less yelling today, mainly because they won the game, but also the fact that Carr's relationship with these players is just new.
I was at one place for 9 years. If I was hurt, no one even asked if I was playing. If I yelled or if I was upset or if I did something, they knew where I was coming from, and I felt like it was really important for me in a new place that I felt the Lord put on my heart. Like I needed to, describe what I'm thinking, what I'm seeing, communicate better, and not just rely on 9 years in a place that wasn't this place.
So basically, some of the Saints players are like, wow, I don't know this guy. Why is he yelling? Why is he so freaking passionate and flipping out over here? But if you've watched the Raiders for the past 9 years, if you've watched Carr, you know he wears his heart on his sleeve every single week. And Saints fans are having a sigh of relief. They're not complaining. They're not angry at Carr this week. Saints fans, don't turn into how Raiders fans were. Just listen to Devontae Adams talking about why he was happy that Carr left the Raiders to the Saints, and maybe it was good for him and a sigh of relief.
And also it was good for him. He would have to play basically perfect to win over the fans and keep everybody happy. So, it was good for him to get a new start too.
Good for Carr to get to a new spot because he had to play perfect for the Raiders to keep the fans happy. I guess if Saints fans continue to be hard on Derek Carr, at least he's used to it. The score is a little misleading, 38-27. Yes, it was an 11-point game, but there was a moment when it was a one-possession game and it really felt like the Colts had an opportunity to get back, but the Saints defense and offense made enough plays late in the game to close this one out. When you're looking at the Saints schedule, you're playing the Chicago Bears Bears next week, still without Justin Fields, but Tyson Bagent looks pretty competent. Then you got the Minnesota Vikings and then a bye week, so the Saints could maybe get on a 3-game win streak here. Injuries are so heartbreaking, and it looked like it hit Kirk Cousins, who tore his Achilles today. Unfortunate, because the guy has been playing well the past few weeks and honestly seems like an interesting character from that QB Netflix show. So that sucks for Kirk Cousins, but you gotta bring it up when you're looking at the Vikings game around the corner in a couple weeks. Probably gonna be a backup quarterback there. And this was a great game for Raiders fans who still love Derek Carr and don't like the direction of the Raiders right now. I just got my glasses fixed this morning, and I'm wondering, the Derek Carr haters, where are you at? We cannot see you. You were completely missing. You were around the last 2 weeks, and now you're gone. I saw Taysom Hill throw a long bomb today. I saw Derek Carr throw some long bombs today. The Saints literally have 2 quarterbacks who could air it out much more than the Raiders' current quarterbacks, unfortunately for me. But I am dropping some NFL videos on this channel, WiFiWillie NFL, and if you enjoy hanging out with me, check me out on WiFiWillie Raiders. I go live for Saints games, live play-by-play and reaction, and I also go live for Raiders games and sometimes some additional primetime games. So I hope to see you on this channel and my other channel, WiFiWillie Raiders. Peace out, and I hope you have a good one.